Good morning, dragons. Well, today we are going to discuss 12.8, and 12.8 is tricky. It's not that it's really hard, but you have to be very attentive and be very careful with looking at the shapes that are being discussed. These shapes are going to fall into many categories. We've been talking about quadrilaterals. We've been talking about perpendicular. We've been talking about parallel. We've been talking about equal sides and right angles. The shapes that we're discussing in geometry have all these things, and we can classify them based on their characteristics. We can classify them based on their angles, or their sides, or both. We can classify them on their overall shapes, how many sides they have. And this is what makes it difficult to classify polygons. And again, this isn't hard, but you're going to have to pay attention to the details. So let me start with, I did this in my class earlier in the year. I had one of my students stand up and we classified the student. And so I want you to classify yourself today. I want you to look and think to yourself, first of all, what is your name? Okay? You have a name, I have a name, we all have a name. But what is your name? And that is not done describing you. Because let's just say I'll use Mr. Warner. That's me, that's my name. And the next thing is, are you a son or a daughter? Most likely, yes. Well, in fact, you have to be a son or a daughter because you have parents. So if you're a son or a daughter, are you possibly also a sibling? Do you have a brother or a sister? You might have more than one, but are you a sibling? And if you're a son or daughter, that probably makes you a grandson or a granddaughter. Now you are who you are by name, but you're also a son or a daughter, you're a sibling, you're a grandson or a granddaughter. And if we keep going, I bet you're a cousin too. So here you are, all of these things, all the way down to cousin. And if you're a cousin, that makes you a niece or a nephew. And if you're a niece or a nephew, I'm guessing even around town, you're probably even listed as a friend. We could go on and list probably even more characteristics that you are. And if we think of this like polygons, polygons fall into many categories, just like you fall into many categories. If you're a boy, then you're a son, you're a brother, you're a grandson, a cousin, a nephew, a friend. If you're a girl, then we have your name, you're a daughter. You could still be a sister, a granddaughter, again, a cousin, a niece, a friend. You're falling into all of these categories. You're not just one thing, and that's what shapes are. They aren't just one thing. So let's take a look today at what 12.8 is going to be asking. And one of the main things is they are going to ask you to identify placement of shapes, especially into Venn diagrams. So I have written a big Venn diagram here, and I have already qualified what I'm going to be looking for. Now, down here at the bottom of the Venn diagrams are the rules. In math, we call these conditions. You may call them the rules for the circle or the Venn diagram, but we call them conditions. And the conditions that I am looking for are polygons with parallel sides and quadrilaterals with right angles. Now, placing them into the polygons is not necessarily hard, but we're going to have to pay attention. So let's start off with a few of the shapes. And if I look right here, I have a shape. My job is to place it in the polygons with parallel sides, the quadrilaterals with right angles, or somewhere in the middle. Now I'm noticing that this shape, I did my best, so we'll just assume that these are right angles right here. This definitely has some right angles, okay? So I'm excited because I can put that right here because it has right angles, except I have a problem. I did not read carefully enough. This cannot go here, and why not? Well, this happens to be a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not a quadrilateral. I cannot place it in this circle because it is 6-sided, not 4-sided. All right, let's take a look. However, can I place it over here? Is it a polygon with parallel sides? And the answer to that is yes, because these two sides are parallel to each other. One is long and one is short, and these lines are parallel to each other here, here, and here. So this is a polygon, straight-sided. Doesn't matter how many sides, but it is straight. There's no curves, and it's flat. Therefore, this is a polygon. Does it have parallel sides? Yes. I can keep it inside this circle. Just can't put it here because, again, it's not a quadrilateral. All right, let's take a look at another one. Here we have a quadrilateral. I'll bring it up. Here we have a quadrilateral. All right, I did this the best I could, and this seems to be a right angle, and this seems to be a right angle. That tells me I have a quadrilateral with right angles. There we go, a quadrilateral with right angles. But if I look a little bit further, I can notice that, these two sides seem to be parallel. So now I have a quadrilateral with right angles, but I also have parallel sides, which means this is a polygon and it has parallel sides. I have to place it inside both circles. Here's another shape. This one appears to have a right angle. Now, let's count how many sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a four-sided figure. This is definitely a quadrilateral. It's also a polygon because it has straight sides. So I think I can put it over with the, oh wait, I can't. There's no parallel sides here. It only has a right angle. I cannot place it anywhere inside this circle. It has to be out here. Quadrilaterals with right angles. It is four-sided, and it has a right angle. Let's take a look at another one. This guy. I don't see any right angles. I don't see any parallel sides. This is definitely a polygon because triangles are straight-sided, closed shapes, but it does not fit in this circle, and it does not fit in this circle. This shape would go on the outside. It does not fit anywhere inside my Venn diagram. If I take a look at a few more, here is a weird shape. I'll put it here for the time being. I do see a right angle here, and I see a right angle here. I do not see anything else. I know it is not a quadrilateral. It is not four-sided, so I can't keep it in this circle. But does it have parallel sides? Because although it has right angles, it's not a quadrilateral, so I can't keep it here. But it does appear that this side and this side are parallel. Therefore, even though it is weird shaped, I can keep it inside this circle. My polygon with parallel sides. And a few more shapes here. I see this shape here has a right angle, and I will place these in. This is a quadrilateral with a right angle right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, but it doesn't have any parallel sides. No sides are parallel, so it would just stay inside this circle. Here, with a square, and here, with a rectangle, we would have quadrilaterals, four-sided, and parallel sides as part of the shape. These have right angles because we know that squares and rectangles have right angles. So these would fit in both circles. Lastly, I have a few polygons with parallel sides that do not fit. Here we have parallel sides here and here. Here we have parallel sides around the whole thing, but no right angles. And lastly, one more polygon with parallel sides. It has right angles. So it does have the right angles. it has parallel sides right here and right here. But it's not. I cannot put it here. How come I cannot put this here? It has right angles. It has parallel sides. It's both. But it's not a quadrilateral. This is a pentagon. Therefore, it has to go over with the polygons. This is why you need to be careful when doing these shapes. You must look carefully. Now, lastly, if I take these away, the hardest part about this is naming the conditions if you have yourself some shapes already inside. So if they give you a blank Venn diagram and we look at this and I draw some shapes inside, let's try drawing some here. I know my shape drawing isn't perfect because I'm trying to do this on a slant a little bit, but let's see what we have here. And over here we have this. Okay. I have created a Venn diagram that does not have any conditions down below. Your job is to find the conditions. And this is what makes it a little more difficult. I've tried to make one that is a little bit easier to see. But let's take a look. And when we look at a Venn diagram, we have to look at the whole circle. So I want you to look at this circle as a whole. Kind of put your hand over this part of the other one. Don't just look at this. You need to look at the whole entire circle. And what do you notice about all of these items? Doesn't matter if they're in this part or this part. What do you notice about all of them? Hopefully it's pretty obvious. These are all triangles. That means this condition is these have to be triangles in this circle. Now let's take a look at the condition in this circle. Again, look at the entire circle. Use your hands. Think, okay, I have to look at the whole circle. What do you notice about these? By covering this one up and looking here, what do you see that is common? Well, I know they're all polygons. That's for sure. And this is a hexagon. This is a pentagon. This is a quadrilateral. This is a triangle. So it's not the number of sides. It doesn't count for the number of sides that are in here. It's something else. I notice that this has parallel lines. This has parallel lines, but these do not have parallel lines. So that cannot be the condition. I have to find something that fits everything. And if I look carefully, I will notice that all of these have right angles. We could also say that they are perpendicular lines. So, when you're dealing with Venn diagrams, look at one circle, look at the second circle, or when you're placing them in, make sure that when you're done, everything fits to all of your conditions.